Let's get good. I am the gamer under development, and this is Endless Space 2. Big patch came out just the other day. I believe it was just yesterday, actually. So we're going to be starting a new game here as the Vodyani, because I haven't played them in a very, very long time, like since early release time. And I want to experiment with them a little bit. Plus, there were some huge changes in the patch that we're going to go over as we play through this time. So here are our settings if you want to check those out real quick. The only reason I'm not on endless difficulty, I'm on impossible, is because I have not played the Vodyani in a really, really long time, and I actually want to get far enough into the game for us to really explore some of the new changes. So we're going to be at impossible and hard for the difficulties. Other than that, though, everything pretty standard here. We're doing a Spiral 6, and we're going to jump right in there. Very, very excited about the new patch, guys. Some huge changes. No more taxi fleets, because the fleet speed boosters are now hero only, which makes heroes as fleet commanders much more valuable, no matter whether you're a military faction or not. There's also been some changes to the armor values, so armor is now a little bit more effective, and healing is now a little less effective, which means overall there's a lot of fleet comp changes that I'm really excited about. And the way that CP is acquired has changed too, but we'll go over that a little more once we get into the game.
We once had a home world, but we were poor caretakers.
Sounds familiar.
Had we not discovered the virtual relics, our tale would have ended there. By their grace, we were elevated, and we strive to serve their memory. Yet, in our moment of exaltation, a false prophet arose. The heretics summoned ancient demons and corrupted the faithful. But we refuse his lies and reject his accusations. We will see the heretic drown in his blasphemies. He will not break our will and bring ruin on our church. Only then can we shed our mortal cloth and rise endless.
I love the way the light expands there to almost make wings behind the leader of the Vodyani. The intro sequences, as always, are just gorgeous in this game. The other reason we're playing the Vodyani is because their story is intrinsically tied to sort of the overarching story of ES2, and there's been some votes lately about the direction of that a little bit, so if you haven't checked out Games Together for those votes, you absolutely should be. Alright, so Sing is our starting planet. We're going to go through a whole bunch of stuff here, but like I was saying, there have been a lot of changes, including one that's worth noting right away, as this is a popular and favorite law amongst people that like to play religious, and that is Saints and Sinners. So let's go take a look at that real quick. This no longer locks your systems to content, which means that we do actually need to pay a little bit more attention to happiness and stuff like that, which isn't a big deal. That's something I tend to do as a player anyway. Let's take a look at our starting laws here and see if there's any that we absolutely want to get. So normally Super Tax Act isn't terrible, but we're content right now, so if anything, I think I'd be more inclined to pick up Toys for Boys. Unfortunately, that would result in a net loss of production, so there's some things we can do to counteract that with the Vodyani. For example, we're going to get rid of that because we don't need to move this ship very soon. And we're just going to load up on a couple of industry modules here that are unique to the arcs. Those are all must-serve modules. That'll give us an additional 20 production. It is going to cost us a little dust to upgrade that, which we probably don't have enough to do it yet. No, we do not. Okay, so we'll wait on doing that, but that is something that we're going to keep in mind. I think once we do that, it'll make more sense to switch on that law. Until then, we'll probably just wait. Let's go ahead and have a look at our hero. I said, let's go ahead and have a look at our hero. There we go. Okay, so as I was saying, some of the new changes that are kind of interesting, the fleet support movement modules no longer go on support ships, they only go on hero ships, which is a big change to your overall fleet composition in the long run. That's a garbage engine, let's put a good engine on there. I love that the Vodyani, who get bonuses for lasers, start with projectiles, but I think everybody kind of does. So what we're going to do here is we're going to switch them up a little bit. I still want to leave one autocannon here, or projectile cannon here, just as flak. but we're going to go with a couple of lasers and a beam. That's going to give us a lot better of a damage split. It's also going to give us a more interesting range profile where we kind of take off in the mid-range and then do a lot more damage at short, but we still have some damage at long range this way. And we're going to go ahead and add in an armor module, because as I was discussing before, the armor is now more effective than it has been in the past. And we'll also go ahead and throw a probe module on here because this is our hero ship. Good chance to take a look at this. Now, I'm not sure, like, I don't have all the classes and their skills memorized. But the thing to keep in mind now, folks, is that because of the change to the fleet movement, heroes that actually add fleet movement are even more valuable than they were in past iterations of the game. Does not look like this is one of them, though, and that's okay. Our first hero rather, is going to be a fleet commander for the Vodyani, but that's more because of our faction quest requiring some early combat. We've already attached them to this wheel fleet. We're going to go ahead and scan down whatever's on our home system just for a little more hero XP. Life pods away, battle tactic. Okay. Not exactly what I wanted, but it's fine. Oh, and that's just beautiful right there, folks. Starting planet has both titanium and Hyperium, which we don't have the text for. We'll fix that very, very soon. And then we've got our leechers. Now, there is one very interesting thing I like to do with the leechers, and this is unaffected by the game changes. Yeah, you can have two leechers like that, but I'd rather just do this. And the reason for that is, now we've got this leecher that can explore at a rapid pace. Just look at that movement speed difference. 16 fleet movement means that that thing is going to fly around and discover all sorts of goodies for us. And the main thing we're looking to discover is a minor faction relatively soon. So far not seeing one, that's not exactly an ideal situation for us at all. Let's go ahead and send our hero fleet up this way. If we're very lucky, our quest will spawn pirates up here at this choke point so that we can kind of catch anything coming in through there. Let's see what else we have not done on our first turn. Obviously, we can go through here. Got some nebular clouds near us. The effects of that nebular cloud are actually really nice, so once we get some influence around it, that'll help us out a lot. Yes, we know we have a hero. New luxury resource, we've got super spuds, which isn't phenomenal, but it's not bad.
Of the heretic, though long ago, left scars that have only recently healed. Now, as you once more look outward, you hear reports of star systems full of wealth, alien populations rich with essence, and endless ruins to explore and venerate.
Okay, we get it. I'm gonna open the Empire information real quick.
That guides you, as the responsibility of your church weighs on the shoulders of your holy cloth.
Victims of a...
Virtual saints guide you.
Thank you, narrator. Victims of a classic cycle of over-industrialization. That's good, because that's what we're going to do with them. The Vodyani were saved by technology culled from ruins of the virtual endless. These precursors quickly gained an aura of divinity in the eyes of the Vodyani and are now worshipped as gods. Clothed in their great black suits of borrowed technology, Vodyani leaders pilot their great arcs across the star lane, seeking other peoples to convert, control, and consume. Okay, so if you've never seen the Vodyani before, we're going to go through this real quick. We live on arcs, we don't actually colonize systems. If I minimize this real quick, you can see one of those beautiful arcs. That was the nice beast of a thing we were looking at before. Arcs are very interesting because they can be used as ships, but they're primarily our colonization method here. So one of the strategies for the Vodyani is to build a military arc early and just rush out with it. I think that strategy is a little bit less effective now that we have behemoths in the game, as military behemoths can keep up with them fairly well. So we probably won't be doing that exactly. So traits, we have fast travelers, get some extra movement there, which is already a boon. Fearless warriors, plus 20% infantry health on Empire, so that makes invading a little bit easier. Legendary heroes, get better XP on our heroes and they cost less, which is awesome. Utopian infrastructure, that just gives us a little bit of extra happiness, or approval rating rather, on our systems once we build our modernizations, which is associated obviously with your trade level. And then xenobiology is a great starter because it gives us a little extra science, and I'm guessing that if we actually look at our system thing, science is one of our lower... Yeah, see, so science is one of our lower things, which means we have a little bit of an issue generating science. We could add a module to the arc to help with that, but it's better to just go ahead and buff your production, in my opinion, and build out some science buildings. And then last but not least, we also start with off-world agribusiness, which will give us access to infinite supermarkets, and the Xeno Synergy Diplomacy, which enables us to have diplomatic relations with minor factions. So one thing we're going to do here to start with is we're going to definitely build our cerebral reality before our drone networks, and the reason why is just because even though it's only about 2 turns difference there, those extra 2 turns will help make up for sort of our science being a little bit lower here. And then after that, actually, I think we'll get infinite supermarkets and then public-private partnerships. That's sort of a good order for us to go in, I think. Alright. And this leecher right here, we are not going to upgrade, because if we do, we're just going to have 2 leechers that can move, and neither one will be able to effectively leech essence. Essence is another major mechanic for our faction. What it does is it essentially allows us to build more arcs, as well as build more population on our arcs, because one of our malices, I believe, although I didn't see it, which surprises me, because I'm pretty sure that... Oh, I think it's a population malice, that's why I didn't see it. So if we go to our population details, yeah, here we go. Up to minus 50% food on system proportional to the amount of this population. So essentially, the Vodyani population eats a lot more food, but they also generate a lot more resources. So we're good with that. We like that they're here, we like that they generate more resources, but we do realize that because of that, they don't generate as much food, and we're not going to get as much natural growth here. 20 turns before we get a natural growth. However, we can use Holy Proliferation here to cash in some essence to get a population growth on our arc. You'll also notice that the population is a little bit lower because it is shipbound versus being on the planets. That's fine though, that's something we can deal with later. The biggest struggle with our essence is being sure that we have a good source of it, which we get from siphoning minor factions and enemy factions, but it's also the decision of, do we build a new arc or do we build a new population? Most of the time we're going to err on the side of building new arcs because expansion is a major part of the Endless Space series. Hey, we found deciduous trees. Is that in that system that we just drove through, Nair? Awesome. Okay, so Nair has 5 planets and deciduous trees. I'm happy already. Got some anomalies there. Let's just go ahead and take a look at the whole system. Tunneled slip gates. That's not terrible. It's not super effective. I mean, it's basically only trade relevant, which isn't huge for us. Got some science coming off this Baron. That could be really helpful with our science deficit. And then there is the potential for some strategic resources here on Nair 1. So Nair is not a perfectly ideal system, but given that it does have deciduous trees, and there is the potential of some strategic resources here, I like it. Okay, so that's good. That is all good. Let's go ahead and make sure we get some research queued, and then we'll end our turn. Because we do have access to 2 strategic resources on our home system, I'm actually probably going to go for plasma metallurgy first. Although, if we do the math, and like this is one of the things about Endless that's very important if you're just getting into the games, you really want to do the math. So we have 2 population here, right? And we're going to have 2 strategic resource deposits here, in theory, within... How many turns will it take us to get both of these? 5 turns. So probably before we're able to complete the interplanetary transport network. So that's 2 population, 3 additional industry per population. Oh, but it's only per planet with strategic resource. So that's 3, 6, plus another 2 from that. So that's 8 industry increase in our home system versus Xeno-Industrial Infrastructure, which gives us 10 on a fertile, 10 on a planet, and 10 on a temperate. It's already vastly better, so we're going to go ahead and start with Xenolinguistics, and then move to Plasma Metallurgy, and then from there, we're going to come over, and we could go into Planetary Landscaping and try to work past our food malice. I think that might actually be a good idea. However, it's also important to think about the fact that these are going to provide us with buildings to build, so our queue is going to be kind of full. Adding additional things to our queue that we can build isn't necessarily going to be very effective. So instead, what I think we'll do is we'll probably work towards this, which is all must serve 2. That is an excellent little thing. We're probably not going to build magnetic field generators right off the bat, but all must serve 2 is a great little module that will give us a lot more production on our arcs. So I'm going to go ahead and put that 3rd in our queue. Okay, sounds good. Let's get it done. Gonna move everybody forward. Still no minor factions. That's a really, really unfortunate thing. Not having minor factions is kind of a difficult thing with us. But we did find another system that has deciduous trees. So deciduous trees are a very realistic possibility for our first luxury resource. We are able to colonize this system. It does have... Ooh, Molten Springs is a nice anomaly. We're definitely going to want to scan down Columba, because Columba, in my opinion, is probably a better secondary system than Nair at this point, just due to the potential these unscanned planets have. However, we cannot colonize them just yet, so we'll need tech for that. Versus over here, where we can colonize the planet that we're able to scan down now. So let's go ahead and see what we get. And there's a Malice. That's not good. Kessler Syndrome, not going to help us very much there. We can wait to probe this and this. However, it may be more beneficial to move on to Columba and start probing there, because we know that Malice isn't exactly something we're interested in utilizing. But we did get basic Maggie lasers, a laser upgrade for a laser faction. Makes me happy. Okay, so let's take, I believe this is our Speed Leecher. It is. Go, Speed Leecher, go! So now we've got Mike Ray here. Let's go ahead and just zoom through that real quick so we can see what we've got going on. It's not a terrible Malice. It does sort of aggravate our deficit in science already. And the systems, or the planets here, are not that amazing. So I'm not super sold on getting that system in a hurry. Definitely looking at Columba and Nair as our next two systems. Probably Columba first, depending on what these anomalies come up. The question is, do we want to send these guys over here, or do we just want to wait here and probe down? And I think what we'll do is we'll just wait here and probe down. Yeah, so we'll sleep them until a probe is built, and we should be good right there. The one gotcha is that we may want to come in and do this, which we can't until we have 216 dust. Okay, so we're going to be waiting on that for a hot second, which is okay. I mean, it's really uncommon that you just are able to initially switch on that additional production boost. Brother Atab was caught gorging on the slaves today. Wow. Brother Atab, put the slave down, man. Put the slave down. He shall be forbidden sustenance for 3 days, his suit receptors deactivated. All must obey the laws. It is a great and lonely thing to rule the Vodyani Protectorate, a heavy responsibility that I wear with pride. We have put our faith and our suits, our cloth, which protects and maintains our spirits during our holy effort to guide the faithful, discipline those who stray, and punish those who preach heresy. And of all those heretics who must be punished, Isander Shumed, the infidel, is the greatest. He is also my brother, he who fomented a rebellion. I think that's meant to be fomented, but it's misspelled. He who fomented a rebellion, freed the slaves, stole a ship, and crippled the Protectorate for decades. He who discovered the tabernacle of lies and believed every word of it. The day will come when all deeds are counted and tallied in the great network that binds us together, and on that day the infidel will burn, even if it must be by my own hand, even if he is my brother. But that day is not yet come, and by their will I hope it does not come soon, for we have much to prepare, a system to pacify, a new galaxy to civilize, the ignorant to convert, the infidel to punish. The rigors of faith permit us no rest. My faith burns with the flame of 1,000 suns, and no power in the galaxy will deter me. The prestors and custos will see to the faithful. I must look outward to secure our new home. Those who are here must come to accept us and learn our ways. Our first step is to deal with those who cannot understand reason, history, and the laws. They are pirates and shall be dealt with as will all brigands and unbelievers. Destroy the indicated pirate fleets in or near your home system, or in or near your home constellation. We will get 50 titanium for this. This is actually really, really nice. And it kind of makes me wish that we had gone the other way with our research so that we could start in on the Endless Research Park very, very soon. We'll still probably get there in a reasonable amount of time, though. And we didn't quite get what we wanted because we don't have a solid choke point here. However, we do know that the pirates are in these two systems, which makes it even more appealing to kind of send these guys up here. That being said, I do kind of want to continue scanning and get a better idea of what we've got going on here first. So there is some titanium there, that makes that a little more appetizing, and a Malice on Nair 3. So Nair not looking like a great second system for us to get, Columba probably a much better option. And then this Leecher should be moving. Oh goody, this is not good. Our Leecher running into pirates is a bad thing. Yes, we want to retreat. You are attempting to retreat via an unknown star lane. If the destination is unavailable, your fleet will be destroyed. Are you sure you want to retreat? Yes. We don't have an option. They're going to be destroyed anyway if we do not retreat. So they're retreating over here. They did probably take, yeah, they took half damage out of that, which is unfortunate. But if we'd left them in that fight, they would have just been destroyed entirely. And losing our leechers early on is a big problem for us. We did get some additional influence there on our scan. And then a little bit of extra titanium. Never going to complain about that. And our hero has leveled up. Considering that we're about to go into combat with him, taking a combat skill here makes the most sense. Shield capacity, probably not so much as fleet health. Fleet health here going to make a bigger difference, in my opinion. XP could make a big difference too, but I think we're going to go fleet health. Fleet health will make an immediate difference in the next fight that we have, which is much more useful in my opinion. And this guy has not landed because that star lane is astronomically long. That right there doesn't bode well for us, the fact that there's a giant length star lane right outside of this little cloister. That being said, our starting constellation is an influence constellation. Influence is something that was changed in the patch, by the way. There are actually, the influence generation from a lot of the buildings has been slightly decreased. And there is now, if I'm not mistaken, an initial cost for enacting a law, and then there's also an upkeep cost that are charged separately. So because of that, there is definitely something to be said for being happy with a little bit of extra influence. That being said, we're going to want to switch on species stability here. I probably should have done that last turn, actually. And what that does is it just generates a little bit more essence for us, as well as preventing us from growing any population other than our own population, which might be a bad thing because our own population doesn't grow organically as well with food. However, okay, so we have unlocked the second economy and trade quadrant, and that lets us know that there's a new deed available. Be the first to possess 20 star system improvements in your empire. We are ranked 6 on that. Everybody else is a lot farther than us on that. Or equal. I mean, it's early enough that it could just be equal. Okay, that's fine. We've got those going. I'm going to go ahead and jump in here real quick because we do want to kind of be a step ahead on where we go with these. Definitely considering warp drive here. Warp drive is always a very strong one. This tech used to be one that I would go for every single time almost immediately, and that was primarily just because of the H-Field Fleet Accelerator. The fact that that is now only applicable to hero ships makes it much less of a must-have for me, so I think we'll actually change that and do something a little bit different. I think instead of going for that, I may actually jump over and get either Xenology so that we can start getting heroes sooner, or potentially Denark University here for more happiness and influence. I mean, we could go the other way as well and just dive over here for access to the market, which is very helpful early on. This is, and already we're seeing the effects of these changes. The fact that this tech is no longer feeling mandatory for me actually makes me feel better about that. Like, I'm glad that that is a thing. Well, you know, you can never go wrong with getting O2G delivery gear. The other thing, too, is that CP has been added to the tier unlocks for the military branch, which means just by getting some military technology, we'll unlock some additional CP. That's actually a really, really big difference. So I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and add ubiquitous surveillance in here just so that we can get a few more CP along the way. And now we should have a combat going on. Yes, we do. Okay, so strategy-wise, we have some lasers there. We have a lot of projectiles there. They are primarily projectile. They have no defenses. They are terrible at long range, and they get better as they go. We are actually pretty okay. Well, we have slightly more damage at long range than they do. So initially, my thought would be to go with the plus 25% hull plating here to reduce the damage of their projectiles. The problem with that is that that battle plan is going to put us right in their hotspot range, and we'd rather not be there. We'd rather get to probably a medium range where we have a slight advantage. So we're going to go ahead and look at potentially using power to shields here. Yeah, it's going to be power to shields. Oh yeah, because they don't have any shields. So we're going to do this. It's just going to keep us at a slightly longer range, which will allow us to take advantage of the beams on our hero ship. Yeah. Okay, if we go into advanced, you can kind of get a better feel for what we're doing. We're trying to keep a little more distance here so that we can take better advantage of the ranges. And you know what? Let's go ahead and watch this one, because I'm actually curious how this is going to play out. Plus, I always like to kind of watch at least one ship battle per episode, just because they're cool. They look great. They are absolutely gorgeous. Alrighty, here we go. We will probably skip to the action, though. Definitely don't need the slow start. And there is our display. Let's go ahead and go to the overview cam here for a minute. I actually prefer to watch on the overview cam because it gives you a little better sense of what's going on. These are ships over here. So as we can see, they're not taking as much damage at this range because we're real far out, but they are taking more damage than we seem to be at this point. Come on, guys. You can do it. You can do it. Wear them down. Yeah, we can see that they've already lost about a quarter of their health, and we're still pretty healthy here overall. Let's go ahead and go back to the auto cam here for a minute, though. Go ahead and turn that off and just enjoy. Come on, guys. You got this. Take them down. It's so interesting to, like, see the difference between those ranges. I mean, that is a significant difference right there. Look at their health now comparatively. Like, that actually makes a big difference. So even though my initial inclination was, oh, we should probably go with better projectile defenses, the range played a much more important factor than the actual bonuses from the strategy we chose. So definitely something to keep in mind as a new player, that the bonuses from the strategy cards are not necessarily the only oh, just love the way that that looks with that laser dragging across the hull. I hear explosions. We won. Beautiful, and we didn't lose anyone, so that's a plus too. The biggest problem with this quest early on is that you typically lose a ship, and that can be kind of tough to recover from since there is another enemy ship that we have to take out here. Wow, we didn't take any damage on our wheel ship at all, but the flagship took damage, which is fine, because the flagship will recover as long as you have another surviving unit, so that was actually a perfect combat for us. That could not have gone any better if we tried anything differently. That was ideal for us. Let's go ahead and take a look at what is available here on this Savannah. So that's not terrible. It is better production, but we lose some happiness there. Still thinking Columba is probably our best second system for us to go after. Definitely going to want to consider waiting here for a second for our hero ship to heal up a little bit, although I don't think they'll heal because they're not in our space, so we might as well just go here and try to finish our quest. Based on how that combat went, if the next combat goes similarly, we should be in a fine position. I'm going to go ahead and take a second bit of fleet health here to help us stay healthy and survive the next combat. And then we're going to look over here and see what we've discovered. Viren looks to be a very small system that is not going to be ideal for pretty much anything. However, it is a nice little choke point for us to just establish defenses. And we discovered a minor faction, the Elo. Elo? Yeah, the Elo. They're pragmatists, so they generate more science. That's actually helpful for us. And they lower the upkeep on behemoths. Also a nice little bonus. Let's go ahead and take a look. They do generate additional influence on hot planets, and they output religious, political influence, so that's kind of helpful for us as well. We're just going to go ahead and give them praise for the moment, because that's dirt cheap. And then we'll start to drain their essence with our other ships once they get here. And this is why we like this little scout leecher that's got 16 movement, because we find that minor faction much faster with that. Can you imagine if we'd had to scout out that way without having that ship? It would have taken us a lot longer to get there. Jadnix was discovered in Guyana. That's another good reason for us to consider assimilating them. Jadnix, one of the better early resources you can have. Okay, so this is all going splendidly. Let's make sure that we have Xeno Industrial in the queue. I actually want Xeno in before Infinite Supermarkets. Yes, we're still only at Content, and that might actually boost our dust and science generation considerably. However, it does mean 4 more turns before we get here instead of 3, and that 1 extra turn over time with the additional production I think will make up the difference. So we're going to do that. We are far, far from having enough essence to do anything fun with that yet, though. Oh, you have hacking operations, that's right. I forgot about the hacks. And that's primarily because we haven't had anything in range to hack. But now we can hack to Guyana. It's going to take us 12 turns. The good thing is, since we're bouncing through 3 systems, the chance of them actually, like, tracing our hack back is almost non-existent at that point. And we can use that hack to gain a little bit of reputation with them, which will be very important since we're going to be leeching their population, and they're not going to like that very much. Okay. That being said, folks, that is all the time we have for this first episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm very excited to explore more of the changes. Already, we're starting to see some of the gameplay impact of the changes in the patch and how it changes the way we want to think about how we move forward in the game, and that's awesome. I think that if you're going to do a big patch like that, it's super beneficial to have it be something that actually changes the way people play the game, because in a way, that refreshes the game for everybody that's been playing it for a while. Like, I feel like this is going to be much more of an exploratory playthrough than some of my previous playthroughs, because there is that difference. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to go ahead and give us a like or subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next time. Bye!